This actually happened to me a few months ago when I was out making a delivery in a very bad neighborhood. At that time, I used to work at a relatively small company. It was usually pretty chill, but this one time it was like something out of a movie. It was already late, and I had to make a delivery to an address in a very bad part of town. I wasn't too happy about it, but I gotta make that cash. I pulled up to a rundown apartment building. The whole place just had a feeling like something bad was gonna go down. I head up to the apartment door, and a guy opens it. Right away, I can tell something's off about him. He's giving me this intense stare, like he's sizing me up. And then he started to talk, but it wasn't about paying for the delivery. No, this man straight up offered me some kind of drug instead of cash. I just stood there and tried to process what he said. But this guy didn't take no for an answer. He started getting aggressive, right in my face, and I started to freak out a little. I was just trying to do my job, and now I got this guy trying to push drugs on me. I tried to play it cool and said that I'm gonna go get his order from my car, but as soon as I turn around, I hear him behind me, getting even more intense. He's like, "You ain't going nowhere until you take this stuff." I said that he should just chill out. At this point, I started to panic even more. This man was crazy, and I'm stuck in this tiny hallway with him. And then he grabbed me by the arm and pulled me into his apartment. I yelled at him and tried to free myself from his grip, but he was way stronger than me. The place was a total mess, just in one of those crime shows. There's stuff everywhere, and it smells straight up garbage. Before I could even process what was going on, the guy shoved a bag of drugs into my hand and started yelling at me to take it. I was just standing there, frozen. What do I do now? I just wanted to deliver an order. Finally, I mustered up the courage. I said something like, "Look, man, I don't want your drugs. I just want to leave." But the man was not having it. He starts getting all up in my face again, yelling and cursing at me. I just wanted to get out of there before things could get any crazier. So I quickly made a break for the door, but dude grabbed me again, trying to stop me from leaving. And I'm struggling with him, trying to break free, but he's surprisingly strong for a skinny guy. A minute passed, and suddenly I heard sirens outside. I don't know who called the cops, but I was just grateful that someone did. The guy slightly loosened his grip, so I managed to free myself. I started to run and prayed that I would make it out of there in one piece. I finally ran out of the building and right to the street, where I saw a couple of cop cars parked out front. I ran up to one of the officers and started telling him what happened. The cops rushed into the building, and I just stand there, catching my breath and trying to process what just happened. It was like something straight out of a nightmare. I would never have thought that this could happen to me at work. Never underestimate the craziness of some people out there. If you have enjoyed the first story and you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's continue with the second story. This is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. I work as a delivery guy. Nothing fancy, just a job to pay the bills. It was around midnight and I received an order for a pepperoni pizza to be delivered to a rural address. Now, normally I wouldn't think twice about it, but this address, it was an old, abandoned house at the edge of town. I mean, who in their right mind would order pizza to a place like that? But a job's a job, right? So I grabbed the pizza, got in my car, and headed out there. The whole way, my gut's churning like crazy, like something ain't right. But I thought I was just paranoid. I finally pulled up to the house. It was very dark in the area, and the house itself was very run down. Windows boarded up, weeds growing all over the place, the whole 9 yards. I thought to myself that there was no way anyone was living here. But then I see these two guys in the shadows next to the front door, and I know I'm not just delivering to an abandoned building. These guys look rough, like they've seen a lot, and they're staring at me like I'm their next meal. I try to play it cool. I grabbed the pizza and headed up to the door, trying to ignore the knot in my stomach. But as soon as I knocked, things took a turn. The door slightly opened and I only saw a small source of light in the darkness. And there they are, those two guys, standing there like they own the place. One of them got this wild look in his eyes, like he's ready to fight at any moment. I handed over the pizza, trying to keep my hands from shaking. The guy with the crazy eyes started asking some questions, like he's trying to trip me up or something. And the other one, he's just standing there, grinning like a maniac. I could feel my heart beating as I tried to keep myself together. I'm thinking, just give them the pizza and get the heck out of here. But then I noticed that they have started to block the doorway on purpose. That's when it hits me. They ain't just after the pizza. They're after me. I started to back away slowly, trying to come up with a plan. And that's when I saw my car keys sitting on the table by the door. It was like some kind of godly intervention. I suddenly knew exactly what I had to do. I ran past the two guys as if my life depended on it. 'Cause it did. They started shouting and cursing behind me, but I didn't stop until I was in my car. I left the house as fast as I could. I was terrified. And as I looked back at the old abandoned house disappearing in the rearview mirror, I knew one thing for sure. I'll never deliver pizza to this place again. I still get goosebumps just thinking about it. Next time you order pizza, make sure it ain't to no abandoned house. Trust me, it ain't worth the extra tip. I just need to share this crazy thing that happened to me during my deliveries. I'm still freaked out just thinking about it, but I gotta get it off my chest. Maybe someone out there can make sense of it. So, I work as a delivery guy for FedEx. Been doing it for a while now, and usually it's all good. But last week things got weird. Real weird. It was just another day. I had a route that I know like the back of my hand. At that point, I had been delivering for hours when I noticed something strange. There was this black sedan trailing behind me. At first, I didn't think much of it. There are tons of cars on the road, but this one? This has been behind me for the last 20 minutes. I tried to shake it off, but no matter where I turned, there it was, following me like a shadow. I started to get this sinking feeling in my gut. Then the sedan started getting closer, real close. I could see the guy behind the wheel staring at me. It was a scary thing to see. I picked up the pace, trying to put some distance between us. But every time I looked in my mirror, there it was. Like it was glued to my bumper or something. I panicked because I didn't know who this person was and what they wanted from me. I didn't have any answers, just a whole lot of fear gnawing at my insides. Then, out of nowhere, the sedan swerved in front of me, cutting me off. My heart skipped a beat as I slammed on the brakes, narrowly avoiding a collision. They weren't playing around, whoever they were. I watched in horror as two men in masks got out of the car. They were coming for me. I didn't stick around to find out what they were up to. I stepped on the gas, dodged them, and sped down the road. I didn't stop until I was miles away. I reported the whole thing to the cops, but what could they do? It was just my word against theirs, and I didn't have much to go on. But I know what I saw, and I'll never forget it. Ever since that day, I always keep one eye on the road and the other on my mirror. And I'm also seriously thinking about quitting this job. The risks involved are simply too great for me to stay any longer.